and community safety partnership. How does that sound? I'm at last able to say
long.
it, you know. But we're talking
PCSP.
PCSP. We're now talking, we're lifting people's gaze above the horizon of the year. We're taking them towards Halloween.
Halloween, indeed.
Why would we be doing the like of that?
Well, basically, there's a lot of planning would actually go into a lot of the events that are run around Halloween, and we're actually going to be in the process next week, the week after next, May the 27th, of opening our open call for grants for any community organisations, youth groups, or other groups that would like to actually apply for funding for that. We're also actually opening at the same time, it's another round of funding for more general intervention initiatives. So if you would like to work, kind of run some kind of workshops or something, targeting antisocial behaviour or targeting a specific project at, particularly antisocial behaviour within your area, then this is the funding round essentially for you.
How do people know what you will fund and what you won't fund?
Well, we're actually running an information evening on the 27th of May in the Arts Centre from 7
Sean is going to help you with something here, because your hair is actually rubbing against the top of the microphone. There we
apologies.
are. No, it's not your fault. Lady's hair does what a lady's hair must do, I tell you.
Well.
So, Peter, have this the 27th.
The 27th. So we're advertising widely that that we have this information evening. So anybody who's interested, as I say, it might not be for everybody. It might not be the right funding pot for you. But if you wanted to come along, you'll get basically the general information about the basic criteria. Which is essentially targeting antisocial behaviour, because that's what we really want to target. So if it's a project, you can come along, get more information about what will be funded, how do you actually apply for the funding, and then if you want to actually have sort of more one-on-one conversations, we'll be hanging about then sort of after the sort of the main presentation.
And remind me, where is it happening? It's happening?
It's in the Arts Centre.
In the Arts Centre on the 27th
of May,
in the evening.
7 o'clock.
7 o'clock in the evening.
Yeah.
There'll be a wee cup of tea, will there?
Well, no.
There will. There will. You will. That's what they say. Who was it? Mrs. Doyle used to say that. She was the one who said it.
I'll put a penny on and serve the tea.
Put your penny on and serve the tea. But listen to me, the kind of success of last year, you're building on that, are you?
Very, very much so.
Define that success for me.
Well, I mean, the success, the easiest way to define it is in the low to zero call-outs in different areas for the PSNI and for the fire service, which obviously it's traditionally a big call-out time for them. And areas of the district reported no call-outs, and other areas reported very, very low call-outs. Whereas previously that was very, very high and would have cost a lot of money, obviously, from the public purse.
And is that an improvement that occurred within a 12-month period?
Well, no. This particular funding around Halloween has been available now for a number of years, and it has been growing strength to strength.
Yeah, but do you see an exponential improvement as a consequence of putting the money in?
Well, yes, small pots of money to different community groups targeting, as everybody knows sort of, I suppose, their own community and, how to engage with their own young people, looking at maybe the consequence of their action. But so by providing maybe alternative sort of workshops or activities or diversionary things, you can actually bring people away. But it is kind of an ongoing sort of educational thing, because you would have young people now who associate Halloween more with a festival type atmosphere rather than with a wrecking atmosphere. So you are actually building on that, as I say, year on year, so that is becoming much more successful.
And is there a propensity within the community groups to believe that, we can do something about this? Or are they still timorous and somewhat afraid?
No, there's definitely a very, very strong belief, and you would have kind of maybe naysayers going, there's no point, everybody's going to wreck anyway. But you would see, and we would evaluate the programmes that we actually do run as well, and looking at things like police call-outs and fire service call-outs and ambulance call-outs as well, and you can actually clearly demonstrate then the success of it, and then you can use that then to the next year to say, look, here's how well we done this year, so we would appreciate kind of more funding again for another year.
One of the difficult things of Halloween, quite apart from the normal sort of, the old destruction that went on, I say normal, I didn't mean it in that sense, but it appeared normal over many, many years before you arrived on the scene, you see. And thank you for that, you're very kind. No, superwoman, you were there, you did it. When you do that spin around and change and you fly out and you do your thing, you see.
Okay.
But one of the things that we thought about over the years was the the bonfires. Now, they're the most destructive and environmentally awful things in the world. Are we still having them in Newry and Mourne, or are people now buying into a communal bonfire at a pre-selected site where it's done correctly?
Well, that's it. We've worked very closely with Peace 3 on this particularly, Rowan, as well. And it's
Tell them what Peace 3 is, because
Peace
it's
3
money from Europe.
is money from Europe, essentially.
Yeah.
I mean, we would work. Peace 3 works throughout the cluster here, which involves Banbridge, Armagh, and ourselves. But one of the programmes that we've worked very, very successfully on is the Community Beacon, which is an environmentally friendly bonfire in essence.
Right. What do you do to get an environmentally friendly bonfire?
What do you do? You have to apply for funding because they are quite expensive.
Yeah.
But again, when you compare the clean-up costs afterwards, they work out actually much cheaper than what it would cost to clean up after an illegal bonfire, and then you don't have that environmental damage of burning tyres.
What is the right one? Describe it to me.
The Community Beacon, it's a framework, it's an iron-based framework. It's filled with environmentally friendly wood chippings that's all renewable, and it is built, and it can be part of the process that, maybe your young people will actually be involved in actually the assembly of it when it comes. So it will actually be delivered in, and then you can organise activities actually around it. So we had a number of these throughout the district, Hilltown, Rostrevor, Three Ways, Derry Beg. We had a number of them. Three Ways is up. I'm going to get caught now, up that way.
I know 5 ways.
Up that way.
5 ways, but I don't know 3 ways.
Up High Street.
Ah, yeah.
Up High Street.
Yeah,
Sitting going, going to get caught.
But how large are these things?
Well, they're probably the base of it would be maybe about time and a half of your table here. If that's sorry, I don't know what the dimensions of that are. It's done on a sand base as well, so there's no damage to the ground. It can be done on a football pitch, and you can play a game of football the next day, or a play park, or whatever it actually is.
Is it like a cage you put the fire in?
It is essentially, it's a pyramid cage that you do put the fire in. So it burns for a number of hours, and then you'll have your barrier obviously around it. But I mean, it is great, and as I say, it's worked to great effect. Communities, I think we all like a nice outside fire.
Ah, yeah, of course. It takes us back to our primordial times.
There you have it. I couldn't pronounce that word, that's why I didn't try
it. You could pronounce any word you wanted to pronounce. I'm convinced of that, without a doubt. So it's all good. We're looking. How's the amalgamation of councils when we become the new council?
That's the
Where are you
question.
on that now?
Well, essentially, everybody's kind of working away and working towards. There's different meetings at different times in terms of how things are going to actually look. So it's all really, I suppose, a work in progress at this stage of the game. I suppose more concrete stuff will start happening, I think, towards the end of this year in terms of people knowing where they're actually going to be at, or if there is going to be a change in base or whatever, whatever it actually is.
Do you see it as an empowering development, or is the opposite the case? Well, you're obviously going to say it's an empowering development, but in what way will it empower you?
Well, I suppose you have a lot of functions transferring to councils, so councils will become much more powerful in that respect, and we'll have a much bigger area to cover. So, you'll have to be looking at things very strategically in terms of ensuring that resources and whatnot, are distributed equally and all of that sort of stuff. But I think there's going to be a little bit of finding your way, obviously, to start with, because getting used to new geography, for example, and stuff like that.
But it's allowing you to take your good news message further afield. Does Downpatrick have one of those at the moment?
Oh no, they would have, and we would work quite closely together with the PCSP.
But is there one of those PCSPs in Downpatrick?
There is, and there are 26 PCSPs in Northern Ireland at the minute, and with the council amalgamations, there will then there'll be a shadow PCSP to match the shadow council, and then the new PCSP would take effect. So we'll be joining up in that respect, actually.
And
as well.
it's interesting because democracy is great, and it will have its day on the 22nd. But it means that you've got to start all over again educating councillors who don't particularly necessarily know what you're about. So you're starting from the ground up again with a new batch of councillors coming in.
Well, I suppose maybe they won't all be new,
No.
and I
I
suppose
hope a lot of
sure,
them might be.
keep it. Well,
I didn't say that.
and that's your opinion. I didn't say that.
I-
But you know, fresh
Yeah.
start. You know, and
Yeah,
that's
does no harm.
that's life. It's good to maybe constantly reinvigorate
Yeah.
and make sure that you know that you're getting your message across in the right
Good,
way and
good.
being able to actually communicate that. So that's all part of the process.
Siobhan, is there anything you want to ask me?
My goodness, $6 million question.
There you
How
are.
are you feeling this morning?
I've never felt bad any morning in my life.
Well, that's good. That's my
I've
question
always
answered.
felt magnificent. Now, if you were to ask me, how am I would say, I'm brilliant, I think. That's all you can say, isn't it?
Okay, well, that's
But
good.
we had a man in earlier talking about smoking, and I can't get over people who smoke. I've never smoked in my life, and I detest the thing because it's so obviously health eroding and death creating. But people are getting off them, that's all
Oh, I
happening,
think so.
without
yeah.
a doubt.
It's definitely
Yeah.
not the done thing anymore.
No. And will you do the marathon this year?
I will not.
I will not, she says. Listen, thank you so much.
Okay, thank
you
you.
go well. Take
All
care.
right,
We'll
you
play you
too.
some music now.
Okay.
That's Siobhan on her way.